He's the reason why I said you're good to turn Cody Rhodes heel. So this is not an indictment on me thinking that Oba Femi isn't him or he's not ready for it, any of that. My thing is, I just hate when people compare people that it doesn't make sense for. I saw, and I was really going back and forth if I wanted to bring it up, because I don't want this to come across as any shade to Oba Femi or Bron Breakker. But somebody had put up on social media a few days ago pictures of Bron and Oba and basically saying that Oba Femi is better than Bron Breakker. And the comments all agreed. Oh, was there even a thought? Oh, was there any doubt? Of course he's better, all this kind of stuff. Now, I'm not going to state if Oba or Bron is better than each other, because I think that is the dumbest comparison you can do. That would be like back in the day, comparing Undertaker to somebody like Bret Hart. They're completely different characters. And that is a very, very far, but I wanted to paint that picture. You look at Oba Femi and you look at Bron Breakker. Now imagine if you flipped those two characters. The characters. So Bron Breakker mows through everybody. He's got the entrance. He's got the
balls
music
on his neck.
Oh,
The Dunkin' Donut balls on the neck.
Hey, look, if that's your thing, right? Okay, he got the balls on his neck.
Yeah.
And then you gave Oba Femi the Bron Breakker treatment. And the Bron Breakker treatment was, let's throw him in scenarios and see what he can do. The button just isn't reset because he got to the main roster. We all remember him treading water in NXT. Then we all remember, and I thought it was great, but him tagging in NXT, and we're like, why is he part of a tag team right now? And it was doing some comedy, and we're like, okay, but I knew it was like, oh, let's just see what he can do. Oba Femi didn't go through any of that. There is his first promo on NXT Level Up where he's talking to his regular voice. If that comes out right now, he's not destroyed. But you look at Oba a little bit differently, right? The mystique is not there when he's very soft-spoken and he's super articulate. And Oba's one of them ones. That's why I said this is not me discarding anything about Oba Femi. He's one of them ones. I think he could be the face of the company. He's the reason why I said you're good to turn Cody Rhodes heel, is because you could slot Oba in that top babyface spot. So this is not an indictment on me thinking that Oba Femi isn't him or, he's not ready for it, any of that. My thing is, I just hate when people compare people that it doesn't make sense for. They are completely different. It would be hard for anybody to not get over with the Oba Femi push, with the production of Oba Femi, with the presentation of Oba Femi. That's not Bron Breakker. Now, as of right now, do I agree that Oba is in a bigger space and spot than Bron Breakker? Yes. Do I think that Oba has really figured out who he is and Bron still has a opportunity and still a little bit of wiggle room to figure out who he is? Yes. Mm-hmm. But you can't forget what you've seen. And if right now they were to put Oba Femi in a tag team and gave him some comic relief, we look at Oba Femi a little bit differently.
I would say, as far as who's better, I mean, it's just too early to tell. Like, there's just no, even if you could try to compare an apple to orange, it's just not enough data at this point to be able to do the two of them to compare it. I mean, is Oba officially not even SmackDown? Don't even answer that question. But going back to Bron and NXT, I actually thought when he was in a tag team, that was probably some of his, I don't want to say better work. I'm not saying that, but I remember right before that, I remember him being like, Bron, you kind of just missing something. Like, is it because you just still down in NXT and you need to be called up? He was so stagnant and not complacent, because I don't think when you're that young, you're complacent, but it was so stagnant. And then when he wasn't at tag team, I'm like, he's actually pretty interesting because you saw a different side of him. And like, that's always going to get you a little bit farther in my book on if you have been able to play different characters, show more layers, not taking anything from Oba. Because every time I see Oba, I'm like, yo, this man, he's a god. He's a god. Like when we see Jade all the time, Jade is a goddess. But again, when you have the machine behind you, it's actually not even a fair question to ask. And I'm not going to answer that question because it's just too early for the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation of like if they gave Bron Breakker the exact template for Goldberg. Spirit Jackhammer, match is over. Every single one of his matches less than 2 minutes. And then Oba comes up now that is a fair comparison if we do that. But for somebody who hasn't even been on the main roster but 2 weeks, and the 2 weeks
Barely.
we've seen him has been squash matches, which I thought was a horrible idea to squash the War Raiders. I'm all about squash matches. I love squash matches. Think there should be squash matches on weekly wrestling television. But to squash the War Raiders, you can't take them serious anymore. And yeah, you could say on one end, but that just shows how big and great Oba Femi is. You could have found 2 other people for him to squash on Raw.
Especially because they're like you're an actual tag team.
And you ain't got many of them.
Is your actual, not 2 people just thrown together tag team. No, they are an actual tag team.
Now, I say that now. But if next week or in 2 weeks, they bleep the holy hell out of Usos, turn heel, and now we got a heel War Raiders versus Usos, okay. I don't know if that's going to happen. And that could be the catalyst of why they turn heel. Maybe y'all forgot who we are.
Yeah.
Do that whole bit.
That'd be a good one.
You know, but yeah, I mean, so we've seen him destroy in the Royal Rumble, and then we saw him squash Kit Wilson, and we saw him, no contest War Raiders, and you compare that to all the time we've seen the Ron Breaker and the 5 or 6 minute promo segments, and then the long matches and et cetera, et cetera. I just think that's a wrong comparison.